Hey everybody, just wanted to make a video because I just was able to get my Hammond L-100 into my space here. This has been I got it for free because these are pretty easy to find. People on Facebook Marketplace being like, "Hey, I have an old organ. If you can move it, you can have it." and I see like B3, C3, BVs and stuff. The console organs pretty frequently, but then the people that are selling those tend to know what they're worth and sell them for a couple $1,000. But these spinet organs are a little bit less desirable. But of course, for the Genesis fans, this is exactly the keyboard that Tony used, and I know that it pretty much sounds the exact same as a B3. I'm sure the Hammond purists out there are gonna say, "What? No, they sound totally different." But honestly, to me, uh, I don't have that discerning of an ear for organs, so this basically gets me any Hammond sound I could really want, um, and I got it for free, so that's pretty cool. It had been living at my bandmate's house, my friend's house, in his basement, because my space is on the third floor of a house, and I was dreading, making the schlep, getting it up 2 flights of stairs, but he needed it out of his house. It was taking up rooms, so just sadly decided to get it done, and I am glad we did. And it actually wasn't that hard. I used one of those straps that you see like piano movers use, that like straps to your torso. It actually made it not that bad. But anyway, I got it in here, and I've been messing around with it, and it sounds great. It's kind of part of my Genesis kind of rig. So up here I have this controller. This is controlling the. I have a laptop here with main stage. This is controlling the Cherry Audio Pro Soloist um, plugin, which I think sounds fabulous. And I have this little device here. So these buttons on my controller, um, they are pretty much like hard wired to send PC messages, like PC 1, 2, 3, 4, and I really couldn't find a way to configure it any way else in main stage. So I wanted to have these buttons control presets on the Pro Soloist. So on songs where Tony is switching things very quickly, I would be able to do that, but I couldn't figure it out. So I got this little device. I was Googling around for just like USB MIDI buttons, just a little device that just has a bunch of buttons on it that I can assign whatever I want. And this came up on Etsy. Um, it was originally designed for a digital harmonica, which I should actually look up what that is, because that sounds pretty interesting. But anyway, I got it, and you can't really configure it yourself. I talked to the seller, and they're basically like, "Yeah, just tell me what you want it to be configured to, and then they would be able to send me like a script to run or something." But anyway, I just asked them to. These are just CC messages, which then in main stage I can. I just figured that was the easiest way to get this into main stage, and then once it's in main stage, I can reconfigure the buttons to do whatever they want. So I have it set so now it sends PC messages, converts it to PC messages to send to the Pro Soloist VST, and it switches presets, which is very handy for songs like Cinema Show. I have like trumpet, mute trumpet, steel guitar, violin, and Telstar, and this button turns the portamento on and off. Uh, so that allows me to play the Cinema Show. Um, yeah, have the organ, have the RMI, which you've seen in the previous video, and then sitting on top of it, I have another controller to do the Mellotron. And Tony, he originally had the Mellotron below, and there's my Roland pedals with my Behringer Toro, which is very, very, very cool. Um, but yeah, so he had the Mellotron underneath, and the RMI sitting on top of it, but because I don't have a Mellotron, I just have the RMI. And then the part of the casing that goes over the keyboard, normally the RMI, the top of it is like slanted that way, so I'd have to be playing the keys like, like that. But the casing part that goes on top of this kind of nestles on it very nicely, and then the keyboard is a little bit more easily accessible. It's a little farther apart than I'd like. I really like when keyboards are as close together as I can get them, but this works out pretty well. I'm considering getting some sort of heavy-duty like table style stand to put the RMI on, to have it up higher, and then having like an X stand for that controller to go below it. Because that's close to what Tony did, and I think it would be a little bit more comfortable for me playing wise. But yeah, this is the setup right now, and then not only am I interested in playing older stuff, but also newer, 3 Sides Live, Duke Tour era stuff. So as you know, this is geographically what he did. He had this facing the band in the 70s. Had his pro soloist up here, and then Mellotron RMI over here. Then in 78, he moved the organ so that it's facing the crowd. He put his CP70 right here. Oh, I have it set to an organ sound. And then in 78, he had his ARP 2600 up here, and then the Polymoog over here. And then for Duke, he had basically this. He had the Quadra up here, which I'm using the Korg ARP Odyssey plugin to get all my Quadra sounds, to get the dual phonic leads and the poly section as well. I just set the Korg to polyphonic, which is very, very nice that you can do that. And then in order to get the octaves, I tune the oscillators an octave apart. And then I also set it to unison, like a two voice unison, which I think makes it sound very, very nice. I don't know how accurate it is. It's probably not super close to the Quadra, but pretty close. And then Duke Tour. So yeah, Duke Tour, Hammond, Quadra, vocoder over here, which I could assign this to do the vocoder sounds, like the string synth and the human voice. Although I don't have any plugin to do that. But I'll probably end up getting that Behringer recreation just cause it's cool. And then over here you have the Prophet, which I'm using the Arturia Prophet plugin, and the CP70, which I'm using the UVI Key Suite plugin. I was using the Waves one, the Waves Electric Grand 80, which sounds pretty good, but I got the UVI Key Suite in order to get its RMI and PNet sounds, and I just found that the CP80, actually, their CP70, I don't, the samples that they have I don't like quite as much, but the CP80 sounds pretty good. So that's what I use on this controller. And yeah, that basically gets me all the sounds I would really want in all the right configurations. Now for 3 Sides Live, the Abacab tour, he moved his Quadra over here, had the CP70, and then had the dual manual Prophet 10 and no Hammond. So I guess in that case I would just assign whatever Prophet sounds I need here. And honestly, I prefer the sound of the real Hammond versus like the Prophet organ. I mean, I'm sure Tony was probably eager, as technology advanced and he has smaller keyboards. He had the vocoder to replace the Mellotron, which is a lot lighter and easier to use. And then he had the Prophet, which could get Hammond-like sounds, lot smaller and lighter than a Hammond. So I'm sure he was excited to get rid of that. But me personally, I prefer to just use the real organ sounds for the organ parts. So yeah. Oh, and as far as how I'm getting sound out of this, so I have not modified this at all yet. So in the back, maybe another video I'll show you how I do this, but in the back of the organ, so the audio path, interestingly enough, when it's going from different components, from like the tone wheels to the volume pedal to the preamp, it's just using RCA cables that you can just really easily unplug and plug in. So the output of the volume pedal that goes to the preamp I just unplugged it from the preamp, and then I got like an RCA coupler, and then I have an RCA to 1/4-inch jack or cable, which I'm then running to this right here, the Strymon Lex, which is a really, really nice rotary speaker simulator, then going stereo out to my mixer. You can see I've also been experimenting with, having I don't have a Phase 100, but I have a Phase 90, and then I have the TC Corona Chorus with a CE1 tone print in it, which sounds pretty nice. The only thing is that the levels coming out of that volume pedal are a little too hot for the MXR pedal, and it ends up kind of distorting. So the Lex is designed to handle, automatically detect whether it's line level, instrument level, etc., and kind of adjust the gain. But as it is, the output is a little too hot for the phaser, so I have to take the volume pedal and kind of set it down. But then I can't really use the volume pedal to its fullest extent. Oh yeah, and in the current setup, even if I have the volume all the way down, it's still coming out a little bit. But I did just order the Trek 2 line out for spinet organs, so I will be able to have a proper line output. Also, in this scenario, the volume pedal is before the reverb in the chains, so there's no reverb, no real spring reverb. So having the line output will allow me to use the reverb. These brilliants, that's all in the preamp, so those don't function. I can still do vibrato and stuff, but yeah. So having the proper output will be really nice. Plus, it has a low pass output that I can separately run. I just think it'll sound better for bass pedals. Having a separate output, mixing it properly, and having it not go into any of the effects. Because the bass going into like the phaser and stuff, that just doesn't really sound that great. Into the Leslie, it's pretty nice, but yeah, that's basically how I'm running this. And once I properly get, I also need to get a new mixer. Because what I would like to do is have my Scarlett interface that I have. It has 4 outputs. So right now I'm just using 2 of them stereo out. And what I could do is I could have a stereo out, or even a mono out, really, for things like the Mellotron. Have one channel on my mixer dedicated to having computer sounds go through the Leslie pedal as well as the organ. So the organ would go straight to the mixer, and then have that in an effects send where I could route things a little bit differently. Same thing with the chorus. But the mixer that I currently have, it does not allow you to send through the effects pre-fader, which means that I could have that in the effects send, but it would also need to have the dry signal, like no matter what. Like I can't get rid of the dry signal and only have the effects signal. So I'm looking at some other mixers that would allow me to do that. So then I could have Mellotron sounds, pianette sounds, etc., anything coming out of my computer going into that, and then having another channel in the mixer for the Pro Soloist coming out of the computer that would not be going through it, or be going through it a little bit. I could probably route the Pro Soloist to go out of both outputs, so I have it a little bit in the Leslie, and then most of it dry front and center with just a little bit of echo. But yeah, that's about it. Just me yapping for a little bit. Here, I'll put the phone down and give you some proper playing demos. You won't be able to see anything, but at least get to hear. The way I have my drawbars set up, I tend to have just the white ones out for the lower manual, and then have full on full organ. What's funny? The full organ tab here is not everything out. I even looked in the manual, and it tells you what drawbar registrations each of these presets is, and the full organ is not full organ. But anyway, so yeah, I just use the drawbars. I'll second harmonic percussion, because that's pretty much what Tony used. You never really used the third, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, let me put the phone down and I'll play some squonk for you. And since I have the patch pulled up, do some cinema show. So excuse the playing, but you get the sounds, and it sounds awesome. Here I can demonstrate this. Got the trumpet, and then the mute steel guitar. So I need to practice going up and down the scale that quickly. And of course, we got Telstar, the yeah, pretty cool setup, sounding great. I'm loving playing with the organ, and boy, adjusting drawbars, physical drawbars, rather than clicking with a mouse, it's so much better. It's great. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Next one will probably be me installing the Trek line output, so look forward to that.